You're not saving. You're being played. Have you ever walked out of a sale feeling like you just scored the deal of the century, only to realize a week later that you spent twice what you planned and bought 3 things you didn't actually need? You're in good company. 97% of shoppers spend more during sales than they originally planned. They walk in thinking they'll save money. They walk out having spent money. And by January, when the credit card bill arrives, they wonder what happened. But saving money on sales is absolutely real. It happens. People do it. And this book will show you exactly how. The difference between the 3% who actually save and the 97% who overspend isn't willpower. It's knowledge. They know something you're about to learn, how retailers manipulate your brain, and how to stop them. This book has one goal: to make sure you're part of that 3%. By the time you finish, you'll walk into any sale, buy exactly what you need, pay less than you planned, and walk out with 0 regret. No buyer's remorse in January. No wondering where the money went. Just real savings and complete control. Sound good? Then you need to understand what's happening to your brain right now. When you see a sign that says 50% off, something happens in your brain before you even realize it. Your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical that makes gambling addictive. Your logical thinking shuts down. You feel a rush of excitement and urgency, and suddenly you're walking to the register with a cart full of things you'd never buy at full price. When you see only 3 left in stock, your heart rate increases. You feel panic. You imagine someone else grabbing that last item, and you're hit with a wave of fear. Your rational mind tries to ask, do I even need this? The fear is louder. When you see a price tag that says, compare at $200, now $99, your brain doesn't ask whether $200 was ever a real price. It just does the math. You think you're saving $101. What you're actually doing is spending $99 on something you wouldn't have looked at twice yesterday. Retailers have spent billions of dollars studying exactly how your brain works. They know which colors trigger urgency. They know which words create fear. They know how to make you feel like you're winning when you're actually losing. And they've designed every element of a sale, from the signs to the music to the layout of the store, to exploit those triggers. And the most frustrating part? Even when you know these tricks exist, they still work. They're designed to hijack the parts of your brain that operate faster than thought, the parts that feel urgency, fear, excitement, and reward before your conscious mind can intervene. So the question isn't whether you've fallen for these tactics. The question is, can you stop falling for them? Yes, absolutely. And it's easier than you think. The 3% who actually save money during sales aren't smarter than you. They aren't more disciplined. They just know how the game works. They recognize the tricks when they see them. They have a system for making decisions. And they walk away when something doesn't pass their test. This book will give you that system. By the time you finish, you'll know why your brain physically cannot resist certain sales tactics, and how to reprogram that response. You'll know how to spot fake discounts in seconds. You'll understand the exact psychological triggers retailers use to make you buy things you don't need. And you'll have a simple, step-by-step plan to walk into any sale with confidence, buy what you actually want, and save real money. You'll never again stand in front of your credit card statement in January wondering how you spent that much, because you'll be in control. This book has 2 parts. In part 1, we're going to pull back the curtain on the psychological tricks retailers use. You'll learn about dopamine hijacking, fake discounts, urgency tactics, anchoring, bundle traps, and social proof manipulation. You'll see exactly how each one works on your brain, and why even smart, careful people fall for them. Think of this as learning the rules of the game. You can't win if you don't know what you're playing. In Part 2, you'll get the tools to fight back. You'll learn a 5-question checklist that stops impulse buying cold. You'll get a step-by-step savings plan you can use before any sale. You'll discover how to check real price history so you never fall for a fake discount again. And you'll know exactly when to walk away, even when every instinct is screaming at you to buy. This isn't about avoiding sales or feeling guilty for wanting a good deal. It's about making sure that when you spend money, it's because you decided to, not because someone manipulated you into it. It's about walking out of a sale knowing you won. Ready? Let's begin. Part 1. The Traps, Chapter 1. The Dopamine Trap. You see a sign that reads, 50% off, today only. And something shifts in your body before you even realize what's happening. Your heart rate quickens. Maybe your palms sweat a little, and suddenly you feel this surge of excitement mixed with urgency that tells you to act fast, to grab this deal before it's gone. What just happened? Your brain released dopamine, the same chemical that floods your system when you win at a slot machine, eat chocolate, or get a text from someone you're attracted to. That 50% off sign didn't just give you information. It triggered a reward response in your brain before you had time to think about whether you even want what's on sale. This is the dopamine trap. And it's the first weapon retailers use against you. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger in your brain that signals reward and pleasure. When your brain expects a reward, it releases dopamine to motivate you to go get it. This system evolved to help humans survive. See food, get a dopamine spike, go get the food. See a potential mate, dopamine spike, go talk to them. The system worked beautifully for thousands of years. The problem is, your brain can't tell the difference between a real reward and a manufactured one. It releases dopamine just as enthusiastically for a discount sign as it does for actual food when you're hungry. Retailers know this, and they've spent decades studying how to trigger that dopamine response as strongly and as often as possible. Think about the design of a sale for a moment. Bright red signs everywhere. Big, bold numbers screaming at you. Words like save and limited time in capital letters that demand your attention. None of this is accidental. Red is the color of urgency and excitement, a color that makes your nervous system light up. Large numbers catch your eye and hold your attention longer than small ones. Capital letters create a sense of importance and scarcity. Every single element is carefully designed to trigger that dopamine spike before your rational mind can even ask the question, do I actually need this? And once that dopamine hits, your logical thinking weakens in ways you might not even notice. Studies show that when people are in a state of excitement or anticipation, they make faster, more impulsive decisions. They stop asking critical questions like, where will I use this? Or, is this actually a good deal compared to what I could find elsewhere? They just want to capture the reward before it disappears, before someone else gets it, before the moment passes. This is why you can walk into a store planning to buy one specific thing, see a display of items on sale, and walk out with 4 things you never intended to purchase. It's why you can be scrolling through an online store with no particular goal in mind, see a flash sale notification pop up, and suddenly you're checking out with a cart full of items you didn't even know existed 10 minutes ago. The dopamine trap works because it bypasses your conscious decision-making entirely. You don't decide to feel excited, and you don't decide to feel urgency. Your brain does that automatically, and by the time you realize what's happening, you're already halfway to the register. Retailers amplify this effect by creating what psychologists call variable rewards, which is the same mechanism that makes gambling so powerfully addictive. When you walk into a store with rotating sales, You never know exactly what's going to be discounted today. Maybe it's something you want. Maybe it's something amazing. Maybe it's nothing. This uncertainty creates anticipation, which triggers even more dopamine than a predictable reward would. The possibility of finding something great is sometimes more exciting than actually finding it. Online retailers have taken this principle and turned it into an art form with flash sales, daily deals, and mystery discounts that change by the hour. You don't know what's on sale until you check, so you check. And your brain releases dopamine just from the anticipation of finding a deal, whether or not you actually need what's on offer. This is why sales are designed to feel like treasure hunts rather than simple transactions. You're not just shopping. You're searching for hidden gems. You're competing with other shoppers to find the best deals before they're gone. And every time you spot a discount, your brain rewards you with a hit of dopamine, reinforcing the behavior and making you want to keep looking for more. Now, here's the critical part that most people miss. The dopamine hit from seeing a discount is often bigger and more intense than the dopamine hit from actually using the item you bought. Think about it for a second. When was the last time you bought something on sale and felt that rush of excitement? Now think about how long that feeling lasted. A few minutes? An hour? Maybe a day if it was something you really wanted. Now think about the item itself. How many times have you actually used it since you brought it home? Is it still in the bag in your closet? Still sitting in a drawer with the tags on? The dopamine rush from the purchase was the reward your brain was seeking. Using the item was just the aftermath, and your brain doesn't really care about the aftermath. It cares about the immediate reward, the moment of victory, the feeling of having won something. This is why you can buy something on impulse, get it home, and immediately wonder why you bought it. The dopamine is gone, the excitement is over, and you're left with an item you don't actually need and a credit card charge you didn't plan for. This happens to millions of people every single day, especially during major sales events. Research shows that 64% of shoppers buy things they didn't plan to purchase when they see a discount. They're not making conscious decisions. They're responding to a chemical reaction in their brains that retailers have learned to trigger with surgical precision. And the worst part? Even when you know this is happening, it still works. You can read this chapter, understand exactly how the dopamine trap operates, and still feel that rush of excitement the next time you see a sale sign. That's because the dopamine response happens faster than conscious thought. It's a reflexive reaction that your rational mind can't prevent. What your rational mind can do, though, is intervene after the dopamine spike. It can create a gap between the impulse and the action. It can ask questions. It can slow things down. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in part 2 of this book. How to create that gap, what questions to ask, and how to make sure that when you do spend money, it's because you've made a real decision rather than fallen into a trap. But before we get to solutions, you need to understand all 6 traps that retailers use. The dopamine trap is just the beginning. It gets you excited about the idea of saving money. The next trap makes you believe you're actually saving when you're not. It's called the fake discount trap, and it's one of the most widespread forms of manipulation in retail today. Once you see how these traps work together, how each one builds on the last to create a system designed to make you spend, you'll understand why 97% of people walk away from sales having spent more than they planned. And more importantly, you'll know exactly what it takes to be part of the 3% who don't. Chapter 2. Fake discounts. You're standing in front of a price tag that reads, "Compare at $200, now $99. Your brain does the math instantly. You're saving $101. That's a 50% discount. That's a deal worth grabbing. Except it's not. The $200 was never real. That item never sold for $200. The retailer made up that number specifically to make $99 feel like a bargain. And your brain, which evolved to make quick judgments based on limited information, fell for it without even asking whether the comparison was legitimate. This is the fake discount trap, and it's one of the most widespread forms of manipulation in retail today. Studies show that nearly half of all sale prices involve artificially inflated reference prices that make the discount look bigger than it actually is. You're not saving money. You're just being lied to about how much you would have spent. The psychology behind this is called anchoring, and it's one of the most powerful cognitive biases that retailers exploit. Your brain uses reference points to judge value. When you see a high number first, it becomes the anchor that everything else is compared to. Even if that high number is completely arbitrary, even if it has no basis in reality, your brain still uses it as the starting point for evaluation. Psychological research demonstrates this perfectly. In one famous experiment, people were asked to estimate the percentage of African countries in the United Nations. But before they answered, they spun a wheel that landed on a random number. The people who saw a high number on the wheel gave higher estimates. The people who saw a low number gave lower estimates. A completely random, meaningless number influenced their judgment simply because their brains latched onto it as a reference point. Retailers use this principle every single day. They show you a high, original price first, and your brain immediately anchors to that number. When you see the sale price next to it, you judge the value based on the anchor rather than on what the item is actually worth. You think you're saving $100 when you're really just spending $99 on something that was always intended to sell for $99. The most egregious example of this happened with a department store chain called J.C. Penney. In 2012, they decided to stop running fake sales and just price everything at its actual value. No more compare-at prices. No more artificial discounts. Just honest pricing. Sales collapsed. Customers stayed away in droves. The company nearly went bankrupt and had to bring back the fake discounts just to survive. Why? Because people don't actually want honest pricing. They want to feel like they're winning. They want to see that big crossed-out number and believe they've outsmarted the system, even when they know on some level that the discount might be fake. The psychological reward of feeling like they got a deal is too powerful to resist. This is why fake discounts are everywhere. Online retailers use them constantly. You'll see list price or manufacturer's suggested retail price crossed out, followed by a much lower hour price. The list price is often a number the manufacturer suggests knowing that nobody will ever actually charge it. It exists purely to create an anchor that makes the real price look like a bargain. Physical stores take it even further with what's called high-low pricing. They'll set an artificially high, regular price for an item, keep it at that price for a few weeks, even though nobody buys it, and then put it on sale at the price they always intended to charge. Because the item was technically sold at the higher price for a period of time, they can legally claim it's a discount. The high price was never meant to generate sales. It was meant to create an anchor. Department stores are masters of this strategy. They'll rotate items through a cycle of regular price and sale price throughout the year, training customers to never buy anything unless it's marked down. The customers think they're getting deals. The store is charging exactly what it always planned to charge. Everyone feels good. Nobody is actually saving money. The fake discount trap works even better when combined with specific numbers. Retailers have learned that certain price points feel more legitimate than others. A discount from $99 to $49 feels real. A discount from $100 to $50 feels suspiciously round and possibly fake. So they use 99 and 49 to make both the anchor and the sale price feel more credible, even though both numbers were chosen purely for psychological effect. Then there's the tactic of showing you how much you're saving in bright colors and bold fonts right next to the price. You save $50. The focus shifts from how much you're spending to how much you're saving, and your brain latches onto the savings number as the important one. You walk away feeling like you gained $50 when you actually spent $100. Online shopping has made this even more insidious because websites can track your behavior and adjust prices dynamically. They can show you a higher original price the first time you visit, then lower it slightly when you come back, making you feel like you caught a deal. Some websites will even show different prices to different users based on their browsing history and purchasing patterns. The price you see might not be the same price someone else sees for the exact same item. There's also the practice of what's called drip pricing, where a retailer shows you a low base price to get you interested, then adds fees and charges throughout the checkout process until the final price is much higher than what you saw initially. The low price acted as an anchor, and now that you've invested time in the purchase, you're more likely to accept the higher final price rather than start over somewhere else. The most frustrating part of the fake discount trap is that it's incredibly difficult to verify whether a discount is real. You'd have to track the price of every item you're interested in over weeks or months to know whether the regular price is legitimate. Most people don't have the time or energy to do that, so they trust that the store is being honest. And most of the time, that trust is misplaced. Regulatory agencies have tried to crack down on fake discounts with limited success. Some countries have laws requiring that an item must be sold at the higher price for a certain period of time before it can be discounted. Some require retailers to prove that the comparison price reflects actual market value. Enforcement is weak, penalties are light, and retailers have become experts at finding loopholes. The result is that when you see a sale price, there's a very good chance that the discount is either entirely fake or significantly exaggerated. The savings you think you're getting might not exist at all. You might be paying exactly what the retailer expected you to pay from the beginning, or possibly even more than you could find elsewhere if you took the time to compare. This is why the fake discount trap is so effective. It doesn't just make you want to buy something. It makes you feel smart for buying it. It gives you the satisfaction of believing you've won, that you've beaten the system, that you've found value others might have missed. And that feeling is so rewarding that it overrides the part of your brain that should be asking, wait, is this discount even real? Understanding this trap doesn't make you immune to it. You'll still see those crossed out prices and feel that little spark of excitement. Your brain will still do the math and tell you you're saving money. The anchor will still work because anchoring is automatic. What understanding does is give you a reason to pause and ask whether the numbers you're seeing reflect reality or manipulation. And that pause, that moment of questioning, is what separates the people who actually save money from the people who just think they do. In the next chapter, we'll talk about another trap that works hand in hand with fake discounts to create an even more powerful sense of urgency. It's called the scarcity illusion, and it's the reason you feel like you need to buy something right now before it's too late, even when there's no real scarcity at all. Chapter 3. The Urgency Trap. You're browsing Amazon, looking at a product you've been considering for a while, and suddenly you see a message in red text. Only 2 left in stock. Order soon. Your pulse quickens. You weren't planning to buy it today. You were going to think about it, maybe compare prices elsewhere, maybe wait until next month when you had more room in your budget. None of that matters anymore. Someone else is about to take the last one. If you don't act right now, you'll miss out. So you click Add to Cart. And just like that, Amazon has turned a casual browser into a panicked buyer with a single line of text. This is the urgency trap, and it's one of the most effective psychological weapons retailers use to make you spend money before you've had time to think. The urgency might be completely fake. The scarcity might not exist at all. That doesn't matter. What matters is that your brain believes it's real. And once you believe something is scarce, your rational decision-making shuts down, and your fear of missing out takes over. The psychology behind this is called loss aversion, and it's deeply wired into human behavior. Research shows that people feel the pain of losing something roughly twice as strongly as they feel the pleasure of gaining something. Losing $50 hurts more than winning $50 feels good. Missing out on a deal feels worse than getting a deal feels satisfying. Retailers know this, and they exploit it relentlessly. Amazon is a master of manufactured urgency. The "only 2 left in stock" message updates dynamically based on inventory data. But the number you see might not reflect total availability across all sellers and warehouse locations. The Wall Street Journal investigated this practice in 2020 and found that these scarcity messages are designed to create urgency whether or not the scarcity is real. The item might be available from multiple sellers or restocked regularly, or have inventory in other warehouses that isn't counted in the message you're seeing. The psychological effect is what matters to the retailer, and that effect is powerful enough to make you buy before you've had time to think or compare. Booking.com has turned this tactic into an even more aggressive art form. When you're looking at hotels, you'll see messages like, 3 people are looking at this property right now, or booked 12 times in the last 24 hours, or only 1 room left at this price. The urgency is layered on so thick that it's almost impossible to resist. You imagine 3 other people fighting over that last room. You picture someone else clicking Book Now while you're still deciding. You feel the pressure mounting with every second you delay. In 2025, investigations revealed that Booking.com was caught exaggerating scarcity and demand. Their limited rooms warnings often appeared when plenty of rooms were actually available, and their other people-looking messages included users who had merely glanced at the page hours earlier. The company faced scrutiny for these tactics, but by then, millions of customers had already made rushed booking decisions based on manufactured urgency. Major sales events like Black Friday and Cyber Monday use countdown timers to create artificial deadlines. You'll see sale ends in 3 hours, 22 minutes, and 15 seconds. Ticking down in real time, creating a sense of panic that makes it almost impossible to walk away. The problem is that these timers often reset or continue under different promotion names. The sale that appears to end at midnight continues the next day, sometimes at the same prices, sometimes with a new timer counting down to a new deadline. The urgency was manufactured. The pressure was fake. But by the time you realize that, you've already bought 3 things you didn't need. Online retailers have embraced what's called flash sales that last for minutes or hours, creating intense pressure to buy immediately without comparison shopping. You see a deal, you have 10 minutes to decide, and if you don't act, it's supposedly gone forever. Except it's not. That same item will likely appear in another flash sale next week or next month, or whenever the retailer decides to create another wave of artificial urgency. The tactic works because it prevents you from thinking, comparing, or waiting to see if you can find a better price elsewhere. Then there's the strategy of limited edition or seasonal labeling that creates artificial scarcity for products that aren't actually limited at all. A coffee chain releases a pumpkin spice latte available for a limited time only, as if pumpkin flavoring will cease to exist after October. A clothing retailer offers a summer collection supposedly only available for 3 months, even though similar items will be available year-round under different names. The scarcity isn't real. It's a marketing construct designed to make you feel like you need to buy now or lose your chance forever. What makes the urgency trap so effective is that it works even when you suspect it might be manipulation. You can understand intellectually that the scarcity is probably exaggerated, that the deadline might be arbitrary, that the only two left message might not reflect true availability. Your brain still responds to the urgency as if it's real, because the fear of missing out operates faster than rational skepticism. The emotional response happens before your logical mind can intervene. This is why some retailers deliberately create limited quantities of popular items during major sales. They stock less than they know people will want, ensuring that some customers leave empty-handed. Those customers then tell their friends, post on social media, share their frustration about how hard it was to get the deal. That creates genuine urgency for the next sale. People line up earlier, they buy faster, they spend more. All because the retailer manufactured scarcity once and let customer experience amplify it. Airlines use dynamic pricing systems that show you prices changing in real time, creating urgency by making you watch costs increase as you hesitate. You search for a flight, see a price, come back an hour later, and the price has jumped by $50. This makes you feel like you need to book immediately before it increases again. What they don't advertise is that prices fluctuate constantly based on complex algorithms considering time of day, search patterns, competitor pricing, and dozens of other variables. The price that went up might drop back down tomorrow, or next week, or an hour from now. The urgency you feel is based on incomplete information designed to make you act before you understand the full pattern. The urgency trap doesn't just make you buy things you don't need. It makes you pay more than you should for things you do need. When you feel pressured to act immediately, you skip comparison shopping. You don't check other websites or wait to see if prices drop. You don't ask yourself whether you could find the same item used, refurbished, or on sale somewhere else. You just buy because the fear of missing out drowns out every rational consideration about value or necessity. Understanding the urgency trap means recognizing that most retail deadlines are arbitrary. Most scarcity is either exaggerated or manufactured. Most limited time offers will return, often under a slightly different name or promotion. The pressure you feel to act immediately is usually designed to prevent you from making a thoughtful, informed decision. And the real cost isn't just the money you spend. It's the opportunity you lose to find a better deal, wait for an actual sale, or realize you didn't need the item at all. In the next chapter, we'll talk about another trap that works alongside fake discounts and artificial urgency to push you toward spending more. It's called the bundle trap, and it's the reason you end up buying multiple items when you only wanted one. Because the most effective way to increase what you spend isn't just to make you buy something. It's to make you believe that buying more is actually the smarter, more economical choice. Chapter 4. The Bundle Trap. You walk into a fast food restaurant planning to buy a burger for $4. You look at the menu and see a meal deal. Burger, fries, drink, and chicken nuggets for $5. Just $1 more, and you get all that extra food. The deal is so good that it feels foolish not to take it. So you order the meal. You just spent an extra dollar on food you didn't need and probably won't finish. Either you'll force yourself to eat it all and feel uncomfortably full, or you'll throw half of it away. And more importantly, you've just trained your brain to see bundled deals as smart purchases, creating a pattern that will cost you far more than $1 extra over time. This is the bundle trap, and it's one of the most effective strategies retailers use to increase how much you spend while making you believe you're being economical. The psychology is deceptively simple. When items are grouped together with a discount, your brain focuses on the savings and the perceived value, rather than whether you actually need everything in the bundle. A burger alone for $4 seems reasonable. A burger plus 3 other items for $5 seems like an incredible deal. What your brain doesn't automatically calculate is the cost of that extra dollar multiplied across dozens or hundreds of similar decisions, or the physical cost of consuming more than you need, or the long-term behavioral shift toward always choosing more for less, even when less would have been enough. The real danger of the bundle trap isn't the individual purchase. It's the habit it creates. When you spend $1 extra today to get more food than you wanted, you're conditioning yourself to make the same choice tomorrow and the day after, and every time you see a bundle that looks like a good deal. Over the course of a year, that $1 becomes $365. Over 10 years, it's $3,650 spent on things you didn't need, simply because the bundle made it feel like you were winning. McDonald's became a case study in bundle psychology with their $5 meal deal launched in 2024. The promotion included a burger, fries, drink, and chicken nuggets for $5, which looked significantly cheaper than buying each item separately. According to industry analysts who studied the promotion, the strategy worked not primarily because of the discount itself, but because of what they called neat, round, and easy-to-understand pricing. Michael Zakur, founder of the consulting firm 5 New Digital, explained that consumers respond positively to simple price points that feel approachable, and that psychological response is more powerful than the actual discount percentage. The real brilliance of McDonald's bundle wasn't just the low price. It was how the $5 entry point made additional purchases feel insignificant. Once you've committed to spending $5, adding a $2 apple pie or upgrading your drink to a large for an extra dollar feels like nothing. You're already spending money. What's $1 or $2 more? The bundle gets you through the door and establishes a spending baseline. The add-ons are where the real profit happens. This is why fast food chains constantly promote meal deals while keeping individual item prices relatively high. The bundle looks like a bargain by comparison, even when the total amount you spend ends up higher than what you originally planned, and even when you consume more calories than your body needs. The health cost of food bundles is something most people don't consider in the moment. When you buy a bundle that includes fries, a drink, and extra items you weren't planning to eat, you face a choice. Waste the food or eat it. Most people choose to eat it because wasting food feels wrong and because you've already paid for it. This leads to regular overconsumption, where you're eating beyond your hunger simply because the bundle made it economically appealing to buy more. Over time, this pattern contributes to weight gain and the health issues that come with it. The $1 savings on today's meal becomes hundreds or thousands of dollars in future healthcare costs, not to mention the physical discomfort and reduced quality of life. The bundle that felt like a smart financial decision turns out to be expensive in ways that don't show up on the receipt. Amazon uses a different but equally effective approach with their frequently bought together feature. When you're viewing a product, Amazon shows you other items that customers often purchase alongside it, with a combined price and a single button that says, "Add all 3 to cart." If you're looking at a camera, Amazon might show you a memory card, a camera bag, and a lens cleaning kit bundled together. The feature is based on actual customer behavior data, showing items that other shoppers genuinely bought together, which makes the suggestions feel relevant and trustworthy. The psychology here is powerful because the bundle feels personalized and helpful rather than pushy. You're not being sold a random collection of items. You're being shown what other people found useful, which triggers social proof alongside the convenience of one-click purchasing. According to Amazon's official guidance to sellers, frequently bought together is designed to help customers discover complementary products they might want. but the measurable effect is clear. It increases average order value by encouraging multi-item purchases that customers might not have considered on their own. You came to buy a camera. You leave having spent $50 more on accessories you didn't know you needed until Amazon suggested them. The AARP published consumer warnings in January 2025 specifically about bundle traps, noting that while some bundles offer legitimate savings, many include unnecessary add-ons with minimal discounts. Their example was a coffee machine bundled with coffee beans. The discount on the bundle might only be 5 or 10%, and the beans might not even be the brand or type you would have chosen independently. What makes you more likely to buy the bundle than just the machine is the perception that you're getting a deal, combined with the convenience of not having to think about what accessories you might need separately. One of the most common and insidious forms of the bundle trap is the spend more to save more threshold. A retailer offers 25% off purchases over $100 or free shipping on orders over $50. If you were already planning to spend $100, the discount might represent genuine value. If you weren't, then you're being manipulated into increasing your spending to reach an arbitrary threshold that unlocks a discount on money you're now spending unnecessarily. Yahoo Finance coined a term for this behavior in February 2025, spaving, which combines spending and saving. It describes the phenomenon of spending more money than you intended in order to access a discount or deal. The article noted that retailers design these thresholds strategically, setting them just above what the average customer would naturally spend, so that reaching the threshold requires adding extra items to your cart. You end up spending more in absolute terms while feeling like you saved money because of the percentage discount. The bundle trap works because it exploits a quirk in how your brain evaluates value. When you see items grouped together with a total price, your brain automatically compares that total to what the items would cost separately. The math feels straightforward. Burger plus fries plus drink plus nuggets would cost $9 separately, but the bundle is only $5, so you're saving $4. What your brain doesn't automatically calculate is whether you would have bought all those items if they weren't bundled. The bundle creates its own justification for the purchase, making you spend money on things you wouldn't have wanted at any price if they'd been presented individually. This effect is particularly strong when the bundle includes one item you actually want and several items you don't. A video game store bundles a popular new release with a strategy guide, a collectible figure, and downloadable content for $60. The game alone costs $50. Your brain sees the bundle and thinks, I'm getting all these extra things for only $10 more. What you're not considering is whether you wanted those extra things at any price, and whether $10 for items you don't need is actually money saved or money wasted. Retailers also use bundles to move inventory that isn't selling well. They pair a popular item with products that have been sitting on shelves for months, knowing that customers will buy the bundle for the desirable item and accept the unwanted ones as part of the deal. You end up with products you'll never use, taking up space in your home, representing money spent that produced no actual value in your life. The bundle made the purchase feel justified in the moment, but weeks or months later, those unused items are just clutter and regret. The bundle trap works because it shifts your focus from absolute cost to relative value. You stop asking, do I need this? And start asking, am I getting a good deal? Those are completely different questions, and the second one leads to very different spending behavior. When your primary consideration is whether the price is good relative to what things would cost separately, you'll buy things you don't need simply because the math looks favorable. The trap isn't in the math. The trap is in letting the math override the more fundamental question of necessity. Understanding the bundle trap means recognizing that the best deal is the one you don't take if you didn't need what was being sold. Spending $1 extra on food you won't eat isn't saving money. Buying 3 items when you only needed 1 isn't getting value. Reaching a spending threshold to unlock a discount isn't being smart if it means buying things you wouldn't have purchased otherwise. The bundle is designed to make you focus on percentage savings and relative prices while ignoring the absolute increase in what you're spending and the waste it creates in your life. The next chapter explores another trap that works alongside bundles to influence your purchases: the gamification trap. This is where retailers turn shopping into a game with prizes, wheels, points, and rewards that make you feel like you're winning when you're actually just spending more. It's the reason apps feel addictive, why you keep coming back to check for deals, and why a simple purchase becomes an experience designed to keep you engaged and buying long after you've gotten what you came for. Chapter 5. The Gamification Trap. You open a shopping app and a bright notification appears. Spin the wheel to win up to $50 off. You tap it. The wheel spins, lights flash. The wheel slows down and lands on $10 off your next purchase. You feel a rush of excitement, like you just won something at a carnival. You didn't win anything. You just got tricked into spending money you weren't planning to spend. This is the gamification trap, where retailers turn shopping into a game with prizes, points, levels, and rewards designed to keep you engaged, scrolling, and buying long after you've gotten what you came for. The mechanics are borrowed directly from casinos, mobile games, and social media platforms. Systems engineered to be addictive. When those same mechanics are applied to shopping, the result is an experience that feels fun and rewarding, while systematically extracting more money from you than you intended to spend. Temu has become the most aggressive and successful example of gamification in retail. Launched in 2022, it became the #1 most downloaded shopping app worldwide by 2024, surpassing even Amazon in the United States. The app's success isn't primarily about low prices. It's about psychological manipulation so effective that retail analyst Neil Saunders described it to the BBC in April 2024 as addictive as sugar. The experience gives consumers repeated dopamine hits that keep them coming back compulsively. Not because they need to buy something, but because the app itself has become a source of chemical reward. Professor Mark Griffiths, an expert in behavioral addiction at Nottingham Trent University in the UK, explained to the BBC that Temu has mixed shopping and gamification really well, creating a system where customers have to browse and engage with the app just to access rewards. The app uses spinning wheels, shake-to-win features, mystery boxes, countdown timers, and flash discount deals that create what Griffiths calls perceived urgency. The strategy mirrors slot machines, where sounds and visual effects heighten arousal and keep players engaged even when they're losing money. Temu applies the same principles to shopping, making the act of browsing feel like playing a game where you might win something valuable if you just keep going. The gamification cycle works through a precise psychological sequence. First, excitement. The app offers you a chance to win a discount or free item by spinning a wheel or opening a mystery box. Second, anticipation. The wheel spins, your dopamine levels rise in expectation of a reward, and your brain experiences the same neurological response it would to a potential jackpot. Third, conditioning. You win a $10 coupon, but the coupon only applies if you spend $50 or more. You weren't planning to spend $50, but now the coupon feels like money you've already earned, and not using it feels like losing something. Fourth, repeat. You make the purchase to claim your prize, and your brain reinforces the behavior, making you more likely to engage with the gamification features again the next time you open the app. The result is habitual spending driven not by need, but by the psychological reward of playing the game. A study published in February 2025 by marketing analysts at Nevo Ads noted that Temu's gamification creates a dopamine-fueled cycle where customers feel like they're always one step away from an even better deal. The example they provided was typical. You spin a wheel and win a free phone case. To claim it, you need to spend $30. You weren't planning to spend that much, but you rationalize adding a few more items to reach the threshold because the phone case feels free. The end result is that Temu increased what you spent while you walked away, feeling like you got a bargain. Temu's interface is deliberately chaotic, designed to mimic the experience of rummaging through a treasure hunt where great deals might be hidden anywhere. Flash sales appear and disappear. Lightning bolt icons streak across the screen, advertising time-sensitive discounts. Countdown timers create artificial urgency, suggesting that if you don't act immediately, you'll miss out. The app constantly bombards you with notifications, rewards, and opportunities to win something, keeping your attention focused on the screen and your finger hovering over the Add to Cart button. The BBC reported that when Manchester-based shopper Lucy Clark first used Temu in 2023, she felt like she was in a virtual casino. The comparison is precise. Casinos are designed to keep players engaged through variable rewards, where the timing and size of payouts are unpredictable. This unpredictability is more addictive than consistent rewards because your brain never knows when the next win is coming, so it stays alert and engaged. Temu applies this same principle by making discount offers unpredictable and rewards variable. Sometimes you spin and get a small coupon, sometimes you get a larger one, sometimes you get nothing. The variability keeps you coming back to see what you might win next time. The European Commission's investigation into Temu in 2024 and 2025 specifically targeted these gamification features as deceptive and manipulative. Regulatory authorities in Poland and the Netherlands issued warnings describing Temu's promotions as mysterious and deceptive, noting that the prize wheels and countdown timers were designed to pressure customers into making purchases they wouldn't otherwise make. The Commission's findings in July 2025 confirmed that Temu was in breach of EU consumer protection laws for using manipulative promotional structures that exploited psychological vulnerabilities. What makes gamification particularly dangerous is that it works even when you understand what's happening. Your rational mind might know that the spinning wheel is just a marketing tool, that the free prize requires additional spending, and that the countdown timer will reset tomorrow. Your brain's reward system doesn't care. When you see the wheel spin, when you hear the notification sound, when you see the congratulations message saying you won something, your dopamine spikes automatically. The chemical response happens faster than conscious thought, and once that dopamine is released, it reinforces the behavior and makes you want to engage with the app again. The gamification trap extends beyond Temu to almost every major shopping app and website. Amazon uses badge systems and Prime Day countdowns. Target has loyalty programs with points and rewards. Starbucks turned buying coffee into a game with stars, levels, and bonus challenges. Even grocery stores now have apps with digital coupons that require you to browse through offers and clip deals to your account, transforming the mundane task of buying food into a game where you hunt for savings. The problem with gamification isn't that it makes shopping more enjoyable. The problem is that it shifts your focus from, "What do I need?" to, "What can I win?" When shopping feels like a game, you start measuring success not by whether you bought useful things at fair prices, but by whether you unlocked rewards, hit spending thresholds, accumulated points, or beat the timer. The metric for success becomes engagement with the system, rather than value received from the purchase. This fundamentally changes your relationship with money. Instead of spending being a deliberate decision based on necessity and budget, It becomes a response to game mechanics designed to trigger compulsive behavior. You check the app not because you need to buy something, but because there might be a new offer, a new spin available, a new reward to claim. The app trains you to seek dopamine hits from the act of engaging with it, independent of whether you're making purchases that improve your life. Understanding the gamification trap means recognizing that when shopping feels like playing, you're not the player. You're the product being played. The game is designed by people who understand behavioral psychology better than you do. And the goal of the game isn't your entertainment. It's extracting as much money from you as possible while making you feel like you're winning. Every spin of the wheel, every countdown timer, every reward notification is calibrated to keep you engaged and spending, using the same addictive mechanics that make people lose hours to mobile games and fortunes to slot machines. The next chapter examines the final major trap that retailers use: social proof. This is where they show you how many other people bought something, how many 5-star reviews it has, and how many customers currently have it in their carts. The tactic exploits your instinct to follow the crowd and conform to what others are doing, making you more likely to buy something not because you evaluated it independently, but because you saw evidence that other people wanted it. When combined with fake discounts, artificial urgency, bundles, and gamification, social proof completes a system of manipulation so comprehensive that resisting it requires conscious, sustained effort that most shoppers never apply. Chapter 6. The social proof trap. You're shopping online for a phone charger and see 2 options at similar prices. The first has 17 reviews with an average of 3.5 stars. The second has 2,000 reviews with an average of 4.8 stars and a small badge that says Amazon's Choice. You don't hesitate. You choose the second one. It has thousands of positive reviews. It's recommended by Amazon. It must be better. Except it might not be. Those reviews could be fake, purchased from brokers who pay people to leave glowing feedback for products they never used. The Amazon's Choice badge could be attached to an item that violates safety standards, but game the algorithm through keyword manipulation. The social proof you relied on to make your decision might be manufactured specifically to make you buy something that isn't worth what you're paying for it. This is the social proof trap, where retailers show you evidence that other people want, bought, or recommend a product to make you more likely to buy it yourself. The tactic exploits a fundamental aspect of human psychology. We look to others to guide our decisions, especially when we're uncertain. When everyone else seems to think something is valuable, we assume it must be, even if we have no way of verifying whether that collective judgment is genuine or manipulated. Social proof is one of the most powerful drivers of consumer behavior. According to research, approximately 93% of consumers say online reviews influence their buying decisions. When you see a product with thousands of 5-star reviews, your brain treats that as evidence of quality. When you see a bestseller badge, you assume the item must be popular for good reasons. When you see a notification saying 10 people have this in their cart right now, you feel pressure to act before others take what you want. All of these signals tap into your instinct to follow the crowd, to conform to what others are doing, and to avoid the risk of choosing something that nobody else has validated. The problem is that social proof in retail is increasingly manufactured, manipulated, or outright fake. Amazon, the largest online retailer in the world, has been fighting a massive battle against fake review brokers for years. In 2023 alone, Amazon blocked more than 250 million suspected fake reviews before they appeared in the store. The company pursued legal action against more than 150 bad actors across the United States, China, and Europe, who were running fake review operations designed to boost product rankings and deceive customers. One particularly egregious case resulted in criminal convictions in China. 2 review brokers were sentenced to 2.5 years in prison for facilitating fake reviews from March 2021 to March 2022. The brokers used third-party messaging apps to advertise their services, offering to leave fake positive reviews to boost a product's ranking or fake negative reviews to sabotage competitors. Amazon provided evidence that led to the investigation, and the convictions marked the second criminal judgment of this kind that the company had secured. In June 2023, Amazon filed 4 new lawsuits against fraudsters who were operating fake review broker businesses. These brokers approached customers through websites, social media, and encrypted messaging services, soliciting them to write fake reviews in exchange for money, free products, or other incentives. One broker advertised services including 5-star Amazon verified reviews, fake negative reviews targeting competitors, and fake seller feedback. The operators claimed to have thousands of reviewers worldwide and promised 100% safe reviews that would boost sales without detection. Amazon's lawsuits revealed the scale of the illicit industry built specifically to deceive consumers through manufactured social proof. The reason fake reviews are so prevalent is simple. They work. A product with hundreds of 5-star reviews sells significantly more than a functionally identical product with fewer or lower-rated reviews. Sellers who can afford to purchase fake reviews gain a massive competitive advantage, which creates an arms race where honest sellers feel pressure to engage in the same practices just to remain visible. The result is that a significant portion of reviews on major platforms cannot be trusted, and consumers have no reliable way to distinguish genuine feedback from paid endorsements. Even when reviews are technically real, they're often manipulated through practices that skew the data without technically being fake. Sellers offer free products or deep discounts in exchange for reviews, knowing that recipients are psychologically inclined to leave positive feedback for something they got for free. Some sellers create multiple fake seller accounts and leave reviews for their own products, a practice Amazon and other platforms try to detect but can't always prevent. Others use targeted keywords and SEO manipulation to ensure their products appear prominently in search results, creating the impression of popularity even when actual sales don't justify it. The Amazon's Choice badge, which Amazon introduced in 2015 to recommend products to customers using Alexa, has become another manipulated form of social proof. A Wall Street Journal investigation in December 2019 found that the badge was applied to numerous products that were unsafe, incorrectly labeled, or violated Amazon's own policies. Items that had been banned, failed safety tests, or displayed fraudulent safety certifications still carried the Amazon's Choice label. The badge even appeared on controlled substances, including steroids and cannabis products, none of which should have been eligible for recommendation. The investigation also revealed that third-party sellers had figured out how to game the algorithm that determines which products receive the badge. By using targeted keywords and manipulating product listings, sellers could essentially trick Amazon's system into applying the recommendation label to items that didn't deserve it. The badge, which customers interpreted as a sign of quality and reliability, became yet another form of manufactured social proof that could be exploited by sellers willing to manipulate the system. The problem extends beyond Amazon to virtually every online platform. Trustpilot, a major review site, has faced criticism for allowing companies to manipulate their ratings by selectively removing negative reviews or incentivizing positive ones. Etsy sellers have reported that bestseller badges appear inconsistently, with some shops receiving the designation after 10 sales, while others with tens of thousands of sales don't have it, suggesting that the criteria for awarding badges are unclear or easily manipulated. Social proof works on an emotional level because it taps into 2 fundamental human drivers: the need to fit in and the fear of missing out. Humans are social creatures who make choices based partly on how others perceive us. If a product is popular, buying it feels like joining a community or trend. If everyone is talking about something, not having it creates anxiety about being left out. Retailers exploit these emotions by creating artificial signals of popularity and urgency that make you feel pressure to buy before you've had time to evaluate whether the product actually meets your needs. Physical retail uses social proof just as aggressively. When you walk past two restaurants and one is packed while the other is nearly empty, you're more likely to choose the busy one because you assume it must be better. Retailers understand this and sometimes employ tactics to create the appearance of crowds. Some stores hire people to stand in line during product launches to make it look like demand is higher than it actually is. Others use strategic window displays, showing mannequins or products in ways that suggest they're popular or trending, even when sales data doesn't support that impression. The social proof trap is particularly dangerous because it often feels like the smartest way to make decisions. Checking reviews before buying seems like due diligence. Choosing products with high ratings appears to be reducing risk. Following crowd behavior feels rational because you're leveraging the collective wisdom of other consumers. The trap only becomes visible when you realize that the crowd might not be real. The reviews might be bought, and the wisdom you're relying on might be manufactured by the very people trying to sell you something. Understanding the social proof trap means recognizing that popularity doesn't equal quality, and reviews don't always reflect genuine experiences. When you see a product with thousands of 5-star reviews, you're seeing a number that could represent real satisfaction or could represent a coordinated campaign by fake review brokers. When you see a bestseller badge, you're seeing a label that might reflect actual sales or might reflect algorithmic manipulation. When you see a notification that other people are viewing or buying an item, you're seeing a message designed to create urgency, whether or not the underlying data is accurate. The 6 traps work together to create a system of manipulation so comprehensive that resisting it requires conscious, sustained effort. Dopamine makes you excited about sales. Fake discounts make you believe you're saving money. Artificial urgency makes you act before you can think. Bundles make you buy more than you need. Gamification makes spending feel like winning. And social proof makes you follow the crowd even when the crowd is manufactured. Each trap on its own is powerful. Together, they form a psychological framework that retailers have spent decades perfecting, and that most shoppers never consciously recognize they're navigating. Part 2 of this book will show you exactly how to break free from these traps. You'll learn practical strategies for making purchasing decisions based on actual need rather than manufactured desire. You'll develop habits that protect your money and your attention from manipulation. You'll understand how to evaluate deals, resist urgency, ignore gamification, and think independently, even when surrounded by signals telling you to buy. The traps are real, but they only work when you don't see them. Now that you do, you have the power to choose differently. Part 2. The Solutions, Chapter 7. The 24-hour rule. You're standing in a store holding something you just picked up. It's on sale. The discount is significant. You didn't come here planning to buy it, but now that you've seen it, it feels like you need it. Your hand is already reaching for your wallet. This is the moment where most people lose the battle. There's one simple rule that can change everything. Wait 24 hours before buying anything that wasn't on your list when you walked in. Not 23 hours, not "I'll think about it" on the drive home. 24 full hours where the item is out of your sight and you're going about your normal life. If you still want it tomorrow, and you can explain why you need it without referencing the discount, the urgency, or what other people are doing, then consider buying it. Most of the time, you won't even remember what it was. The 24-hour rule works because it breaks the dopamine cycle that retailers engineered to make you buy impulsively. When you see something appealing, your brain releases dopamine in anticipation of owning it. That dopamine creates a feeling of excitement and urgency that overrides rational evaluation. The item feels necessary in that moment because your brain is chemically primed to want it. But dopamine fades quickly. By tomorrow, when the chemical surge has passed, you'll be able to evaluate the purchase based on actual need rather than manufactured desire. Retailers know this, which is why they create artificial urgency designed specifically to prevent you from waiting. The countdown timer, the "only 2 left in stock" message, the "sale ends tonight" warning. All of these tactics exist to make you believe that if you don't buy right now, you'll lose your chance forever. The 24-hour rule calls that bluff. If the deal is genuinely good, it will either still be available tomorrow or will come back in a different form later. If it's not available tomorrow, then it was probably manipulative urgency designed to pressure you into a decision you'd regret. The rule applies whether you're shopping online or in person. Online, it means closing the tab, not just leaving items in your cart. Retailers track cart abandonment and will often send you emails with additional discounts or reminders designed to pull you back in. Those emails are part of the manipulation system. Close the tab. Delete the email. If you genuinely need the item, you'll remember it tomorrow and can search for it again. Most of the time, you'll move on to other things, never think about it again. Which tells you the purchase would have been a waste of money driven by impulse rather than necessity. In physical stores, the 24-hour rule means putting the item back on the shelf and leaving without it. This feels harder because you've already invested time and effort in being at the store, and walking away empty-handed triggers a sense of wasted effort. That feeling is part of the trap. Retailers benefit when you equate shopping with buying, because it means you'll purchase something just to justify the time you spent. But shopping and buying are not the same thing. You can browse, evaluate, and learn about products without spending money. Leaving without buying isn't failure. It's exercising control over your own decision-making process. The 24-hour rule is particularly effective against bundle traps and upsells. When a cashier asks if you want to add something for just $2 more, the 24-hour rule gives you time to consider whether you actually want that add-on, or whether you're just responding to the low incremental cost. When you see a meal deal that costs $1 more than the single item you wanted, the 24-hour rule lets you evaluate whether the extra food is worth having, or whether it's just going to end up wasted or consumed beyond your hunger. There are obvious exceptions. If you're buying groceries for dinner tonight, the 24-hour rule doesn't apply. If you're replacing something that broke and you need it for work or daily function, waiting might not be practical. The rule is for discretionary purchases, things you want but don't immediately need, things you encountered while browsing rather than things you specifically sought out, things that caught your attention because of a sale or promotion rather than because you'd been planning to buy them. The power of the rule comes from its simplicity. You don't need to do complex calculations about whether a discount is real or fake. You don't need to research reviews to determine if social proof is manufactured. You don't need to evaluate whether a countdown timer is legitimate urgency. You just wait. If the purchase was driven by manipulation, the desire will fade. If it was driven by genuine need, the need will still be there tomorrow, and you can make the purchase with confidence. Some people worry that waiting 24 hours means missing out on genuine deals. This concern is usually overblown. Most sales recur. Black Friday deals come back as Cyber Monday deals, and then as year-end clearance deals, and then as New Year sales. Seasonal promotions repeat every year. Flash sales on apps like Temu run constantly. offering similar discounts on similar products day after day. The fear of missing out is usually manufactured by retailers who profit when you act impulsively. Genuine scarcity, where waiting actually costs you something irreplaceable, is rare in modern retail. The 24-hour rule also protects you from one of the most insidious aspects of impulsive spending: the accumulation effect. One unplanned $5 purchase doesn't seem significant. But if you make one impulsive purchase every other day, that's over $900 a year on things you didn't plan to buy. Over a decade, that's $9,000 spent on items you probably forgot about months after purchasing them. The 24-hour rule doesn't eliminate all unplanned purchases, but it dramatically reduces their frequency by filtering out the ones driven purely by momentary impulse. To implement the rule effectively, you need a system for tracking what you're considering. When you see something you want, write it down, on your phone, in a notebook, wherever you keep lists. Include the name of the item, where you saw it, the price, and why you think you want it. Tomorrow, review the list. If you still want the item and can articulate a clear reason that isn't about the discount or urgency, research it further. Compare prices across multiple retailers. Check independent reviews. Make sure the purchase aligns with your actual needs and budget. Most of the time, you'll look at the list and delete the entry without buying anything, which means the 24-hour rule just saved you money on something you didn't actually need. The 24-hour rule won't protect you from every manipulation, but it addresses the single most vulnerable moment in the purchasing process: the split second when excitement overrides judgment. Retailers have spent billions of dollars engineering that moment to work in their favor. The 24-hour rule is your defense, a simple barrier that gives your rational mind time to catch up with your emotional response. It's not about never buying things you enjoy. It's about making sure that when you do buy something, the decision comes from you rather than from a system designed to extract money from your wallet before you've had time to think. Chapter 8. The list is law. You walk into a grocery store without a list. You just need a few things: milk, bread, maybe some eggs. You'll remember what you need as you walk through the aisles. 30 minutes later, you're at the checkout with a cart full of items you didn't plan to buy. Snacks that were on sale, a new brand of coffee that caught your eye, a magazine by the register. You spent 3 times what you intended, and you forgot the milk. This happens because retailers design stores specifically to make you buy things you didn't plan to purchase. The essentials like milk and bread are in the back corners, forcing you to walk past hundreds of other products to reach them. The most profitable items are placed at eye level, where you'll see them first. End cap displays and impulse buy sections near the register are stocked with items that offer the highest profit margins. Every detail of the store layout is engineered to maximize unplanned purchases, and walking in without a list makes you vulnerable to every one of those tactics. The solution is simple, but requires discipline. Make a list before you shop, and buy only what's on the list. No exceptions. No, just this one thing additions. No, it's on sale, so I should grab it. If it's not on the list, you don't buy it. The list is law. This rule protects you in multiple ways. First, it forces you to make purchasing decisions when you're not surrounded by marketing designed to manipulate you. When you're at home making your list, you're thinking clearly about what you actually need. You're not being bombarded by sales tags, attractive displays, or the smell of fresh baked goods pumped through the ventilation system to make you hungry. The decision happens in a neutral environment where your rational mind can evaluate necessity without interference. Second, the list eliminates the mental effort of making decisions while shopping. Decision fatigue is real. Every time you have to choose whether to buy something, your brain uses energy. After making dozens of small decisions, your willpower weakens and you become more susceptible to impulse purchases. When you shop with a list, you've already made the decisions. All you have to do in the store is locate the items and move on. This conserves mental energy and keeps your defenses strong against manipulation. Third, the list creates accountability. When you leave the store, you can compare what you bought to what was on your list. If there are items in your cart that weren't on the list, you've broken the rule, and you can identify exactly where and why it happened. This makes it easier to recognize patterns in your behavior and understand which tactics are most effective at getting you to overspend. Maybe you always add items from end cap displays. Maybe you're particularly vulnerable to buy one get one promotions. Knowing your weaknesses lets you develop specific strategies to resist them. The effectiveness of this rule has been studied extensively. Research consistently shows that shoppers who use lists spend significantly less than those who don't, and they're less likely to make impulse purchases. The list acts as a commitment device, a pre-made decision that helps you resist temptation in the moment when temptation is strongest. The rule works best when you make the list specific. Don't write snacks. Write 1 bag of pretzels. Don't write something for dinner. Write chicken breasts, broccoli, rice. Vague list items give you room to interpret, and interpretation is where retailers regain their advantage. When you're standing in front of the snack aisle trying to decide which option fits snacks, you're back in decision-making mode, vulnerable to packaging, placement, and pricing tactics designed to make you choose the most profitable option or buy more than you intended. Making the list also requires planning, which is itself a defense against manipulation. When you plan meals for the week and write a shopping list based on those meals, you're operating from a position of intention rather than reaction. You're deciding what to eat based on nutrition, preference, and budget, not based on what's on sale or what looks appealing in the moment. This shift from reactive to intentional consumption is one of the most powerful tools for controlling spending. The list rule extends beyond groceries to any type of shopping. Before you go to a clothing store, write down what you need. 1 pair of black pants for work. Before you browse online, decide what you're looking for. Replacement phone charger, USB-C, under $20. The list defines the boundaries of the shopping trip. Anything outside those boundaries is off limits, no matter how good the deal looks. One common objection to this rule is that it prevents you from taking advantage of unexpected deals. You walk past an item that's 70% off, but it's not on your list, so you can't buy it. Doesn't this mean you're missing out on genuine savings? The answer is almost always no. If you didn't need the item enough to put it on your list before you saw the discount, then you don't need it. The discount is making the item seem necessary when it isn't. You're not saving 70%. You're spending 30% of the original price on something you wouldn't have bought at any price if it hadn't been on sale. There are legitimate exceptions. Sometimes you discover that you're out of something while you're already at the store. Sometimes you see a needed item that you forgot to put on the list. The rule allows for these additions, but with a condition. You must be able to articulate why the item is necessary without referencing the price, the discount, or the fact that you're already at the store. If your explanation starts with, "It's on sale," or "I'm already here," the purchase is probably not driven by need. The list rule also helps with online shopping, where the temptation to browse and add items impulsively is even stronger than in physical stores. Before you open a retail website or app, write down exactly what you need. Search for that specific item. Buy it. Close the browser. Don't browse. Don't look at recommendations. Don't explore related products. Online retailers make money from keeping you on their platform as long as possible, because the longer you browse, the more likely you are to find something you want. The list lets you enter, complete your task, and exit before the manipulation systems have time to work. Some people find it helpful to use a physical list rather than a digital one. Writing items by hand creates a stronger commitment than typing them on a phone. The act of crossing items off as you shop provides a sense of progress and completion that reinforces the behavior. Digital lists work too, but they require more discipline to avoid the temptation of adding items on the fly or checking other apps while you're shopping. The list is law, because the alternative is letting retailers dictate what you buy. Without a list, you're navigating a space designed by people who spent millions of dollars researching how to make you spend more. Every product placement, every promotional sign, every limited time offer sticker is there to override your judgment and make you buy things you didn't intend to purchase. The list is your plan. It represents decisions you made when you were thinking clearly, before you were surrounded by manipulation. Sticking to it means choosing your priorities over the retailer's profit margins. The power of this rule comes from its clarity. There's no ambiguity. Either an item is on the list or it isn't. Either you followed the rule or you didn't. This binary structure makes the rule easy to implement and easy to enforce. It removes the gray area where retailers operate most effectively, the space where you're unsure whether something counts as a need or a want, where you're weighing a discount against your budget, where you're trying to justify a purchase you know isn't necessary. The list eliminates that space entirely. If it's not on the list, the answer is no, and you move on. Over time, following this rule changes how you think about shopping. You start making lists automatically. You plan purchases in advance rather than reacting to whatever catches your attention. You become more intentional about what enters your home and your life. The cumulative effect is significant. You spend less. You buy fewer things you don't use. You waste less money on impulse purchases that lose their appeal as soon as you get home. The list is law not because the rule is complicated, but because following it consistently transforms your relationship with consumption. Chapter 9. Unsubscribe from everything you check your email and see 15 messages. 3 are from retailers you bought from once, 2 years ago. 5 are from apps you downloaded and never opened again. 4 are promotional emails offering deals you don't want. 2 are from subscription services trying to upsell you to premium plans. 1 is from a newsletter you signed up for and forgot existed. You delete them all without reading them. But tomorrow, there will be 15 more. And the day after that, another 15. The accumulation is constant, and every one of those messages is a doorway designed to make you spend money. The solution is ruthless and immediate. Unsubscribe from everything. Every promotional email, every app notification, every text message marketing campaign, every newsletter that contains affiliate links or product recommendations. If a message exists primarily to make you aware of products, sales, or deals, you unsubscribe. No exceptions. No, but I might want to know about sales. No, I'll just ignore them. You remove the messages from your life entirely. Email marketing works because it creates repeated exposure to products and brands. Even when you don't click through or make a purchase, seeing the message plants the brand in your mind. When you later need something that brand sells, you're more likely to think of them first because you've seen their name dozens of times in your inbox. This is called the mere exposure effect, and it's one of the most reliable findings in psychology. People develop preferences for things simply because they're familiar with them, even when they have no conscious memory of the exposure. Retailers know this, which is why they send emails constantly even when most recipients never open them. The goal isn't necessarily to get you to click on every email. The goal is to keep the brand name in front of you so that when you're ready to buy something, you think of them Each unopened email still accomplishes part of that goal because you see the sender's name before you delete it. The only way to completely eliminate this influence is to prevent the emails from arriving in the first place. Unsubscribing also removes the temptation to check for deals. Many people keep promotional emails because they want to know when items go on sale. This seems reasonable, but it reverses the relationship between need and purchase. Instead of buying something when you need it, you're monitoring prices and waiting for a deal, which means you're constantly thinking about potential purchases. This keeps your mind in shopping mode even when you're not actively shopping. You become more likely to buy things you don't strictly need simply because you've been watching them and waiting for the right moment. The alternative is to search for deals only when you've already decided to buy something. If you need new running shoes, you search for running shoe deals at that moment. You compare prices across retailers, check for coupon codes, and make an informed purchase. You're not spending weeks watching for a sale on running shoes, keeping them at the front of your mind, convincing yourself that when they finally go on sale, you should buy them, even if your current shoes still work. The decision to buy comes first, based on need. The search for a deal comes second, based on that decision. App notifications are even more manipulative than email, because they interrupt whatever you're doing to deliver a marketing message directly to your phone. A notification from a shopping app saying, "Flash sale, 20% off for the next hour," creates artificial urgency designed to make you open the app immediately, browse, and buy something you weren't thinking about 5 minutes ago. Every notification is a psychological attack, a deliberate attempt to redirect your attention and trigger a purchasing decision you weren't planning to make. The first step to unsubscribing is to go through your email and identify every sender who sends promotional content. Most email clients have an unsubscribe link at the bottom of marketing emails, required by law in many countries. Click it. Confirm the unsubscribe. Some companies make this process deliberately difficult, requiring you to log into an account or navigate through multiple pages. Do it anyway. The 5 minutes you spend unsubscribing will save you hours of deleted emails and countless moments of temptation over the following months and years. For apps, go into your phone's settings and disable notifications for anything related to shopping, deals, or promotions. Most shopping apps don't need to send you notifications. You can open them when you need to check an order status or make a purchase. Allowing them to send notifications gives them permission to interrupt your life whenever they want to show you a deal. And every one of those interruptions is an attempt to make you spend money. Text message marketing is particularly aggressive because it feels more personal than email. When you receive a text from a retailer, it appears in the same space as messages from friends and family, making it harder to ignore and easier to confuse with genuine communication. Many retailers now push customers to sign up for text alerts by offering discounts for enrolling. The discount is bait. Once you're on the list, you'll receive messages regularly. And unsubscribing often requires replying with a keyword or navigating to a website, creating friction that makes some people give up and stay subscribed. Unsubscribe anyway. Reply "Stop" to every promotional text. If that doesn't work, block the number. If blocking doesn't work, contact your phone carrier and ask them to block short code messages from that sender. The initial discount you received for signing up cost you far more in mental energy and future purchases than it saved. One common objection to unsubscribing is the fear of missing out on genuinely good deals. People worry that if they unsubscribe from everything, they'll pay full price for items they could have gotten on sale. This fear is largely unfounded because sales are constant and predictable. Major retailers run promotions year-round. If you need something, you can search for it when you need it and find a competitive price through comparison shopping. You don't need to monitor email alerts to get a decent deal. More importantly, the money you save by catching a sale is almost always less than the money you waste by buying things you didn't need, because a promotional email convinced you they were a good deal. If you receive 5 emails per day from retailers, and one of those emails leads to an unnecessary $20 purchase once per month, you're spending $240 per year on things you wouldn't have bought if you'd never seen the email. That cost far exceeds any savings from occasionally catching a sale on something you actually needed. Unsubscribing also reduces decision fatigue. Every promotional message you receive is a decision point. Open it or delete it. Click through or ignore it. Buy something or resist. Each decision uses mental energy, and by the end of a day filled with these micro-decisions, your willpower is depleted and you're more vulnerable to impulse purchases. Eliminating promotional messages eliminates those decision points, conserving mental energy for decisions that actually matter. The psychological impact of an inbox free from promotional clutter is significant. When you check your email and see only messages from people and services you actually want to hear from, you experience less stress and more control. You're no longer being bombarded with messages designed to make you feel like you're missing out, falling behind, or failing to take advantage of opportunities. Your inbox becomes a tool you use rather than a stream of manipulation you wade through. For people who worry that unsubscribing will take too much time, there are tools that can help. Services like Unroll.me and similar email management apps can identify all your subscriptions and let you unsubscribe from multiple lists at once. These tools save time but require giving the service access to your email, which raises privacy concerns. The manual approach, unsubscribing one by one as promotional emails arrive, takes longer but doesn't require sharing email access with a third party. The key to making this rule stick is to treat it as a permanent policy rather than a one-time cleanup. When you make a purchase online and the checkout page asks if you want to receive promotional emails or join a rewards program, say no. When you download an app and it requests permission to send notifications, deny it. When a store cashier asks for your email address or phone number at checkout, decline. The default answer to any request for your contact information in a retail context is no, because giving that information means opting into a stream of marketing messages designed to make you spend more. Some retailers tie discounts to email signups or rewards programs. A store offers 10% off your first purchase if you provide your email. This is a direct trade. You're selling your attention for a one-time discount. The store is betting that the future purchases they'll generate through promotional emails will more than compensate for the discount they gave you today. That bet is usually correct. The 10% you save on one purchase will be dwarfed by the extra spending those emails generate over time. Unsubscribing from everything doesn't mean you can never visit a retailer's website or use their app. It means you do so intentionally when you've decided you need something, rather than reactively, in response to a message designed to create artificial need. You control when and how you interact with retailers. They don't get to interrupt your day, redirect your attention, or create urgency through notifications and emails. The relationship shifts from them reaching out to you constantly to you reaching out to them only when you have a specific reason. This rule pairs powerfully with the 24-hour rule and the list rule. When you're not receiving promotional messages, you're not being reminded of products you don't need. When you're not being reminded, you're not tempted to make impulse purchases. When you're not making impulse purchases, you're spending money only on things you've consciously decided to buy, based on actual need. The 3 rules together create a system that insulates you from the constant pressure to consume that defines modern retail. Unsubscribing from everything is an act of reclaiming your attention. Every promotional message you receive is someone else's agenda for how you should spend your time, your mental energy, and your money. Removing those messages means deciding for yourself what deserves your attention, free from manipulation designed to benefit someone else's bottom line. Chapter 10. The Holiday Shopping Survival Guide. It's late November, and your inbox is flooding with Black Friday alerts. Your social media feeds display countdown timers. Every store window screams about massive savings. You know you need to buy gifts for the holidays, and this seems like the perfect opportunity to save money. You're about to walk into the most financially dangerous weeks of the entire year. Holiday shopping season, from Black Friday through Christmas, represents the peak period of retail manipulation. Retailers make or break their annual profits during these weeks, and they deploy every psychological weapon available to maximize your spending. The average person planned to spend $1,014 on holiday gifts in 2024, up from $923 the previous year. Nearly half of consumers finance these purchases with credit cards or loans, and 28% are still paying off debt from the previous year's holidays when the next season arrives. The pressure to overspend isn't just clever marketing. Behavioral research shows that humans are wired to prioritize short-term gratification over long-term financial stability, and holiday season amplifies this vulnerability. Social expectations create guilt around appearing cheap or disappointing loved ones. Cultural narratives about holiday magic and generosity make saying no to purchases feel like failing at the season itself. Retailers understand these pressure points and construct entire campaigns around exploiting them. Surviving holiday shopping requires treating it like what it is: a battlefield where you're outnumbered and outgunned unless you arrive with a clear strategy. The following tactics aren't about eliminating holiday shopping or being miserly. They're about ensuring that when you buy gifts, you're making deliberate choices based on your values and budget, rather than reactive decisions driven by manipulation. Strategy 1. Make your gift list before sales. Start. The single most important defense against holiday overspending is deciding what you're buying before retailers tell you what's on sale. In October, before Black Friday promotions begin, create a complete gift list. Write down every person you're buying for. Next to each name, list specific gift ideas and a maximum budget for that person. This becomes your shopping blueprint. The list prevents reactive buying, the most common form of holiday overspending. When you encounter a deeply discounted item on Black Friday, you consult your list. If that item isn't a planned gift for someone on your list, you don't buy it regardless of the discount size. A 70% discount on something you weren't planning to purchase isn't savings. It's spending money on an item you wouldn't have bought at any price if you hadn't seen the sale. The list also exposes fake savings. If you budgeted $50 for your brother's gift and you find something on sale for $75, you're not saving money despite the discount label. You're spending $25 more than planned. The percentage marked down is irrelevant. What matters is whether the purchase aligns with your predetermined budget. Making the list in October, before sales hysteria begins, lets you think clearly about what people actually want and need. You're not making decisions while surrounded by limited time offer banners and countdown timers. You're thinking rationally about relationships, preferences, and meaningful gifts rather than reacting to whatever retailers decided to heavily discount this year. Strategy 2. Research actual prices before Black Friday. Black Friday deals are frequently misleading or outright fake. Consumer protection research has documented this pattern extensively. A study by Which, a UK consumer advocacy group, analyzed 214 Black Friday deals in 2022 and found that only 1 in 7 represented genuine discounts compared to prices throughout the rest of the year. 86% of the supposedly discounted items were available cheaper or at the same price during the 6 months before Black Friday. 98% could be purchased at equivalent or better prices at some point during the year outside of Black Friday. The deception spans major retailers. Analysis showed that more than 70% of Black Friday products from Amazon and Very had been available cheaper at other times during the year. By 2024, 84% of shoppers surveyed said they suspected Black Friday discounts were exaggerated or fake, reflecting growing public awareness that the deals aren't as spectacular as advertised. Industry analysis from PriceSpy revealed that 15% of products in Black Friday promotions involved fake sales tactics, where retailers artificially inflated prices in the weeks before the sale to make the discount appear larger than it actually was. To protect yourself, use price tracking tools before Black Friday arrives. Services like Camel show historical price data for Amazon products, revealing whether a Black Friday price is genuinely low or whether the item sold for less 2 months ago. In September and October, record prices for items you're planning to buy. When November sales begin, compare advertised discounts to the baseline prices you documented. Often you'll discover that the 60% off promotion represents only a 15 or 20% discount from normal prices, or that the product was cheaper earlier in the fall. This research transforms how you perceive holiday sales. Instead of feeling urgency to buy during a supposedly limited window of spectacular deals, you recognize that competitive prices exist year-round, and that patience frequently yields better value than rushing to purchase during manufactured shopping frenzies. Strategy 3. Set a hard budget. Using a dedicated account before holiday shopping begins, establish a total budget for all gift purchases. Not separate budgets per person or category, but a single maximum dollar amount representing what you can afford to spend this season without damaging your financial stability. Write this number down. Then open a separate checking account or get a prepaid debit card and load it with exactly that amount. Use only this dedicated account or card for all holiday purchases, both online and in physical stores. When the balance reaches zero, holiday shopping ends. No transferring additional money. No switching to your regular account for just one more gift. The finite balance forces you to prioritize and make trade-offs in real time as the budget depletes. This system works because it creates visibility and limits that credit cards deliberately obscure. When paying with a regular credit card, each individual purchase seems manageable. A $30 gift here, a $45 gift there. None feels excessive in isolation. By January, you've somehow spent $800 more than you intended, and you have no clear memory of where it went because the accumulation happened gradually across dozens of small decisions. A dedicated account with a fixed balance makes every purchase visible as a trade-off. Buying this $50 item means you now have $50 less for everything else on your list. The running balance creates constant awareness of how much remains, forcing you to evaluate whether each potential purchase is worth reducing what's available for subsequent gifts. Research consistently shows that payment methods creating immediate, visible reduction in available funds lead to more restrained spending than methods allowing people to defer, confronting the financial impact. The dedicated account also prevents the most destructive holiday spending pattern. Financing gifts with debt you'll spend months repaying. Nearly half of holiday shoppers use credit cards or loans to fund purchases they can't afford from current income. 28% are still paying off last year's holiday debt when the current year's holiday season begins, creating a debt cycle where people never fully recover before accumulating new obligations. Using a dedicated account with money you actually have eliminates this trap. If the money isn't in the account, you can't spend it. Strategy 4. Shop online, not in physical stores. Physical retail environments during holiday sales are designed to overwhelm your judgment and pressure you into impulse purchases. Crowds create artificial urgency. If everyone else is buying, you should too. Strategic product placement ensures you encounter high-margin items even when searching for something specific. Store employees suggest add-ons and upgrades. Background music, lighting, and even temperature are calibrated to keep you shopping longer and lower your resistance to spending. Every element of the environment exists to weaken your defenses. Online shopping strips away most of these manipulations. You can compare prices across multiple retailers instantly instead of accepting whatever the current store charges. You can apply the 24-hour rule by adding items to a cart and waiting before completing the purchase. You aren't bombarded by visual displays designed to trigger wants you didn't have 5 minutes earlier. You can reference your gift list and budget without anyone watching or judging. The environment is neutral, giving you space for rational evaluation. The key requirement is shopping online intentionally rather than recreationally. Don't browse retail sites to see what's on sale. Don't leave shopping apps open where notifications can interrupt your day with deal alerts. Access the website, search for the specific item on your list, compare options, make the purchase decision, and close the browser. Treat online shopping as a focused task you complete rather than entertainment or a way to pass time. This distinction matters because online retailers use sophisticated techniques to keep you browsing and discovering new wants. Recommendation algorithms suggest products you weren't looking for. Customers also bought. Features plant ideas for additional purchases. Every click generates more suggestions designed to extend your session and increase your cart total. Shopping online intentionally, with a specific goal, executing it efficiently and leaving, protects you from these extended engagement tactics. Strategy 5. Understand the gift card trap. Gift cards seem like practical presents. They let recipients choose exactly what they want. Retailers love gift cards for a completely different reason. Approximately 27% of gift card value goes unredeemed. Across the United States, this represents roughly $3 billion per year in gift card money that consumers pay for but never use. Unredeemed value isn't the only problem. Gift cards often lead recipients to spend more than the card's value. Someone receives a $50 gift card, finds an item they like for $70, and adds $20 of their own money to complete the purchase. The gift card triggered spending the recipient wouldn't have made otherwise. Retailers profit both from the initial gift card sale and from the additional spending it generates. If you're buying gift cards, be strategic. Only purchase cards for stores the recipient uses regularly and in amounts they'll spend in a single visit. Don't buy a $100 card for someone who typically spends $30 per trip to that retailer. The excess becomes either unredeemed value or pressure to spend more than usual to use up the card balance. Better than gift cards for most situations. Identify something specific the person wants and buy that item. It requires more thought and effort, which is precisely why it makes a better gift. You're demonstrating that you paid attention to their interests rather than defaulting to letting them choose. If you genuinely don't know what someone wants, consider experiential gifts. Tickets to an event, a meal together, a shared activity that create memories rather than adding to the recipient's accumulation of possessions they may not need. Strategy 6. Wait until after Christmas. The best prices often appear after December 25th, not before. Retailers need to clear unsold inventory to make room for next season's products, creating genuine discounts in the week between Christmas and New Year. If you're buying gifts for occasions that don't require December delivery, birthdays in March, anniversaries in June, shopping in late December frequently yields better deals than Black Friday or Cyber Monday. This strategy requires planning ahead and resisting the cultural pressure to complete all holiday shopping in November and early December. Keep a list of people with birthdays or other gift-giving occasions in the first half of the following year. After Christmas, when retailers are actually motivated to move inventory rather than just pretending to discount it, shop for those future gifts at genuinely reduced prices. The post-Christmas window also provides emotional distance from holiday spending pressure. The manufactured urgency of Black Friday is gone. The social pressure to demonstrate generosity through excessive gift-giving has passed. You can evaluate purchases rationally, focused on whether the item genuinely suits the eventual recipient, rather than whether you're winning at holiday shopping by finding the biggest discount. The pattern that ties everything together. Each of these strategies addresses a specific vulnerability that retailers exploit during holiday season. Making your list early defeats reactive buying triggered by seeing unexpected deals. Researching prices exposes fake discount claims. A hard budget prevents gradual accumulation of overspending. Shopping online removes environmental manipulation. Understanding gift card economics stops you from buying convenient presents that primarily benefit retailers. Waiting until after Christmas takes advantage of actual inventory clearance rather than manufactured urgency. Together, these strategies create a system for navigating holiday shopping while remaining in control of your decisions and your money. They don't eliminate holiday gift-giving or force you into austerity. They ensure that when you buy gifts, you're doing so because you've chosen to spend that money on that person for that item, not because a retailer successfully manipulated you into impulse purchases you'll regret when January credit card statements arrive. Holiday shopping will always carry emotional weight and social pressure. Retailers will always design campaigns to exploit those vulnerabilities. The difference between financial disaster and mindful generosity comes down to whether you enter the season with a plan or whether you're making decisions reactively in environments designed to overwhelm your judgment. Having a plan doesn't guarantee you'll never overspend. But not having one guarantees that retailers, not you, will decide how much you spend and what you buy.